Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. Good morning on this thriving Thursday. We have our special guest in the house with us today, Miss Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center. How you doing this morning, Danielle?
I'm fine. Good morning, you guys. How y'all doing?
Good morning, and awesome. And hey, we just want to send a special shout out and a happy birthday to Taylor Ducree, who is turning 24 today. And I know a lot of you don't know who that is, but that's like our spiritual daughter from back home. And look, today we're going to be really diving into, some of the great subject matter that Danielle's been bringing to the table, because I hope you've been taking notes over the past couple of times that she's been on the show, because she really brought some revelation to me about some of the things that she was addressing. But, on today we're going to be talking about how to structure your budget. And yes, okay, even us, the Kuzans, we fall in the realm of, not having a written budget down, but, I'm always looking at that checking account and always looking in there. And, just because of what she brought to the table last time, we realized that the bulk of our money, it doesn't go to spending it on food and going out. Our money's been spent on gas going back and forth all the time. But look, I'm going to go ahead and let Danielle just jump right into it so she can go ahead and give you the meat of everything that she has in store today. And I mean, Danielle, really, okay, we hear about people saying, hey, write a budget down. Mm-hmm. And we even hear people that have millions upon millions of dollars, they even continually write budgets down. I mean, how important is it to really, have a written budget?
Like, it's super important to have a written budget, just to have a plan, a pre-plan about how you're going to handle your money and where the money is going to go. A budget is a simple tool, a simple plan is going to tell your money where to go and not allow your money to dictate where it's going to go. A lot of time, you're going to handle the money, or the money is going to inadvertently handle you. So your plan is just telling it you're going to go here, here, here. And so it's always good to have a budget before you get paid or before you get any kind of lump sum of money. I know people who have gotten lump sum of monies and like the money just left before they even know it. So like, have a plan, have a written plan. And I know a lot of people be like, oh, I got my budget in my head. No, it needs to be on paper or on an Excel spreadsheet or on something, or either they have apps and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be on pen and paper. I'm a pen and paper kind of girl. But it can be it, but it has to be written down. Like, you just cannot afford to just keep it in your head.
Look, hey, like I said, raising the hand and definitely having that budget in the head, because I'm one of those people. And like I said, we said on one show previously, a lot of things goes back to upbringing, okay? Mm-hmm. And, when everything, since we're back to that now, paying, cash for this, cash for that my grandfather, I mean, it amazed me. And how you were talking about, let me just go right here. Before we even came up, we were talking about how they have so many people that are probably in the correctional system that are probably geniuses as far as like mathematicians and doing different things, and they can do all of these different things. And you said, what if they actually use that gift to really be prosperous in life? And I'm thinking about my grandfather. I mean, he had minimal education, because back then when he was working, you basically got enough education to read and write, and then you just went into the workforce, okay? And I mean, like right now, but I saw that when the expenses came out for the month, he just knew. It was like he just started roll calling things off in his head.
Right.
But I would have to say that was a much simpler time as it is today. I mean, what kind of, suggestion would you actually give someone to stop doing that? Okay, I can keep this in my head and it's going to work.
I would just simply say that, honestly, we'll forget. Like, you will really forget different bills that you have to pay. Like, we are not, like, yes, you may have a good memory, but sometimes our memory is faulty, or
true.
Either sometimes it just doesn't, like, something happened unexpectedly where you got to pay something. And I know, of course, we're going to, even when you do get in the habit of writing a monthly budget, like, some of your expenses are going to stay the same, and you're going to be like, okay, but then what about the little birthday party that's coming at the end of the month that you totally forgot, that's not in your budget? Or so it's like, that right there, just because your memory is faulty at times, and we're human and we can forget. So it's always great to have a written budget.
And it definitely makes you look like it brings that picture, the bigger picture, more so in the focus. It really gets you to, well, look at the entire like landscape of everything that's coming into the household and everything that's going
Right.
out of the household. Because I know we had been there for so many years to where you just like you said, get that lump sum of money, and
Yeah.
we know we took care of the bills and all of this, and then all of a sudden we turn around. Well, what happened to the money? I
Right.
mean, the money came in on Friday. Come Monday, Tuesday, you're like, okay,
What is it?
I mean, where is it? So, I mean, in saying that, I mean, and people for like actually, having, that written budget. For people that write a budget down, do you think that type of structure, okay, just asking you, transfers over into other aspects of, a person's life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It gives you that structure right there can actually help show you your progress or your lack of progress. And it actually keeps you motivated. It shows you like, well, maybe I need to do more in this area, or maybe I need to do, less and stuff like that. So it actually can transcend over into other areas of your life, because it can actually be an improvement, or either if it's not an improvement, it's like something like, okay, I need to go harder a little bit. Maybe I need to pick up a little bit more shifts at work so I can do this or do
Okay.
that. And it actually, maybe I can take a vacation, because I have this extra money just left over. I can enjoy life some kind of way.
And that's good, because we have to have little times where we can actually reward ourselves for the good that we're actually doing. And I know you stressed that one time previously on the show.
Yeah.
Because some of us, we get so much in the mindset, I've got to save, to where that saving becomes almost a drudgery.
Yeah.
And, if you don't have this type of release that comes, I mean, it's almost like, I equate it like working out. If at one point in time, no matter if you're exercising, you need to have that cheat day. You
Yeah.
just need to have it.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't have it, then all of a sudden, how they say, you fall off the wagon, and then
Yeah.
you just go all out of control. And it kind of sounds like that if you don't have a written budget and you don't reward yourself.
Yeah.
That I believe you said one time you could be doing so good, and then all of a sudden, how everything is lined up in the stores.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you just get out of this big compulsive buy, or something just happens and just totally
Yes.
destroys, your budget that you had.
Yeah.
But let me ask you. I know we got going right into break pretty quick, but in the written budget, should you actually write in your budget to possibly account for things that might happen?
Yeah, like you can have a miscellaneous spot, like where it's just things that just surprisingly happen. So like you can write like a miscellaneous like $50 or whatever, and then take it out that pot of money right there, or you can just have like a little $50 holding spot, and it'll be whatever happens that's unaccounted for. You take it solely out that purpose right there. That way you don't mess up your budget.
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, I know definitely you're getting some great tips. And I mean, we're talking about how to structure your budget with Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center today. And look, definitely stay in tune, and we'll be right back. So stay in the moment. Welcome back, everyone. And yet again, in the house with us on today is Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center. And look, we're talking about how to structure your budget. And one thing came to me when we were off air that I asked Danielle about, and I believe it'll be some really good info that she can just really break down to you. And I asked her, Danielle, do you actually think that people need to have, separate accounts as far as like in their budgeting? I mean, how we were talking about, you've got the miscellaneous and everything. I mean, what suggestion would you have to give to people as far as like in that area?
Yes, I do suggest having like separate accounts, like especially if you're saving for something. Like go to your bank and ask them, could you open up like sub accounts up under your regular account? Because some banks do, I know Barksdale do, where you can have like sub accounts where you can actually, especially if you have the banking app, where you can manage your accounts. And like you can have, like if you're saving for a riding lawnmower, you can like open up a separate account just for your riding lawnmower, so that you can deposit the money in there. And I actually do teach the envelope system. So where you actually like have regular little envelopes, you can go to the dollar store and pick up a pack of little envelopes and label each envelope what you're actually saving for or what the money goes towards. So like if you have a food envelope, you have a blow money envelope, and then you have a miscellaneous envelope. And like a lot of your miscellaneous funds, like if you have a separate account, a separate savings for miscellaneous,
Yeah.
you can keep that at the house. And you can just save like $50 in a miscellaneous envelope and keep it at the house as long as you're responsible with being able not to touch the money.
And the key is responsible.
Yeah.
Or like I used to tell my kids when they were growing up with that old little show, Rugrats, responsibility, okay? You got to have it. So definitely, and look, something that just came to me, when we talking about just responsible then, don't alter or amend your budget to have more percentage going to the blow-off account than, any other.
Yeah, it's like it depends on like what all you're trying to do with your money and stuff. Like if you're trying to pay off debt, have just a small amount going towards your blow money, where you can just have money for your personal money to yourself. Like it all depends on what your goal is, what you're working towards, and how much money you need to actually put in that account. If you're in tons and tons of debt, that account should be very, very minimal, and it shouldn't be high. But that's if you want to get out of debt. If you don't want to get out of debt, put more money there.
So, how important is it to actually have a structured budget?
Like it's super duper important. So that way you can know where it goes, your money goes, and how to actually, you'll know where your money goes, and you'll know what progress you're making. Like a lot of times we don't feel like we're getting ahead or whatever. But if you have that budget, that monthly budget, you can actually track it. So it's a tracking device.
Okay.
It's a tracking device on if you're getting better, you might be getting a little worse or whatever.
It's almost like a financial GPS to help you get to where you need to go.
Exactly.
Okay?
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So, the as far as like we know that it's important to have a structured budget, but how does one actually go about having a structured budget?
Okay. Basically just writing it down and just seeing like how it happens is that, a lot of times people put different categories before the most important categories. So when you're having a structured budget, like at the top of the line, if you're going into if you're spiritual, you'll have at the top of the line your tithes.
Yes.
So if you're not spiritual, or you can want to do like 10% or whatever, like at the top of the line, that's telling your money how to go and what direction it's going to go in. The reason why I say it's important to have a structured budget, because if you're running out of money and you don't have enough money to actually meet all your bills, like you cannot put paying my credit card bill before I pay my light bill. Like you have to have the importance of everything ranked. So it's going to be tithes, and then after that you're going to take care of your four walls. And what your four walls is your food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. Like you cannot be paying other bills before you make sure you have food, before you make sure you have transportation or utilities and stuff like that. Like you need those basic four things to survive.
Right.
So you can't be paying credit card because you don't want your credit score to drop. And in these four walls, like you got to make sure your baby has formula. You have to make sure your baby has diapers. Like, and sometimes people get those confused to where you're paying other bills before your baby has the basic necessities. And so now you're like, your baby doesn't have any diapers, but you done paid your other bills before then.
That's something. It really makes you think, because I personally have seen a lot of individuals do that, make that choice. And, they say, okay, I've paid the car note, I've paid the rent, I've done this, I've done the electric, I've done the water, whatever it is like that. And what I found, and how you said, the four walls, and I'm happy that you actually touched on that, because I was about to ask you, what are the four walls? But just to me, in my opinion, what I've seen is that people will take care of all of those different things, but when it comes to like the food aspect of like the household, it kind of, if we have enough, we're going to get the food. If we don't have enough, we're just going to have to deal. All right.
Right. And it's like a lot of people do that. Like a lot of people will not put food, or either they'll pay all their other bills before they pay food. And it's like, how are you going to eat? Like, how are you going to eat to go to work? Like, we need food to survive, whether it's just the basic necessities or either, it's whole elaborate food budget. Like, food should never, no bill should ever come before food, because you have to eat. Now, unless you get, any kind of type of government assistance to where you don't have to necessarily use as much money, yes. And if you do get government assistance, or if you do get any kind of child support or anything like that, that needs to be included in your budget. Like, that's money that's coming in. Any type of income that's coming in needs to be budgeted for. It just doesn't need to be, I'm just going to put that over there. No, budget for it. Make a shopping list for your food. And, especially if you're getting SNAP, the food stamps, like, really budget that so you don't have to use any extra money.
Right.
That's something that's assistant for you. So, yes, if you're on any kind of government assistance or anything like that, you can do a budget. And it's very important to do a budget with that.
And I think a lot of times, how you said, to get the main type of staples when it comes, and it goes all within your four walls that you're talking about. You see a lot of, I would have to say, as far as like in the realm of food shopping. I mean, if anybody's ever gone to the grocery store and you look at some people's baskets, I mean, if you really wanted to like judge some things, instead of having like the meat, the breads, the grains, I mean, I think grains, for some people, they'll rationalize it. Yeah, I've got grains in my cookies or my potato chips and everything else. And, those are those little temporary impulsive things. That's what I'm going to just call it, okay? So as far as like in that, how you said ranking, now just for you and I, okay, we both, Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, okay, so throwing that out there. And then tithe and offerings, that would be on the top line. Would you actually say that your food should be like the very next thing that you should have in that list?
Yes.
What?
I would say food. Basic necessities with food too. Like, you don't have to, like, if you're not having enough money to actually meet all your bills, get you them key staples like you talked about, rice, flour. Like, if you don't have enough, stop, because a lot of times people are going for convenience with food versus the staples and stuff. And when you start making stuff from scratch, that tends to take a little bit more work. But it's like sometimes we got to take a little bit more work if we don't have enough money coming in.
Right.
So getting those key staples, food, eating red beans and rice, a lot of times we don't like to do that no more. But hearty meals that are going to last, and not like these microwavable stuff that's like, so it's very convenient, but it's also a little bit more expensive than what you would if you were making stuff from scratch.
Exactly. And, I'm going to just actually ask you about this now personally, okay? Well, not personally, but in the advice that you're giving, okay, in making like this structured budget, okay? If you were to actually tell somebody what they would need to actually lay out on the budget, because I know someone out there is listening and thinking about this, okay, I get, especially people that are in the church, okay, I get the whole thing about tithes, okay, they say, well, yeah, I'm doing that, and then, some people, it's kind of like a bomb just went off in their mind, because, like I said, a lot of people wouldn't have put food as the second most important thing. I mean, what items, or how would you have structured, or tell people to structure things, as far as like on their budget sheet?
Okay. I would say the tithes, then I would say the food. I would do shelter, and then I would do your utilities. I would do all of that, because we got public transportation down here. We can catch the bus. I'm not sure how much it is, but we can catch the bus. So you got your tithes, you got your food, you got your shelter, because you need a place to stay, and then you have your utilities, and then if you do have a car, transportation. And so, get your transportation set up, making sure you pay your car note, get you some gas too. Transportation does include car note and gas to get back and forth to work. And then after that, you start dropping down to however you want to structure your bill payoff. So if you're paying off debt, or if you're not paying off debt, or whatever. So if you are paying off debt, or if you have other stuff, like other filter stuff that you may need to pay, like subscriptions and all that other kind of stuff. So you start really putting it by the lowest to the highest. Then.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. Look, we're talking about how to structure your budget with Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center. And I tell you, God is really, really informing us, because sometimes we don't want to know these things, and we want to like go in a form of ignorance. But you know something? God is not going to keep you ignorant when he wants you to come out of that pit of despair that you may be in. So look, stay in your moment, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back, everyone, on this Thriving Thursday. Definitely, you know it because you hear, and definitely God has really been ringing your bell with our special guest, Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center, in the house with us today, and we are talking about how to structure your budget. So, Danielle, I mean, wow. I mean, you brought out some really good things, and wow, yet again, some stuff I didn't really think about when it comes to that area of budgeting. So, look, before we go any further, why don't you go ahead and give out your contact information to everyone?
All right, my contact information. I am located at 3654 Government Street, Suite 1 in Alexandria. My phone number, or you can reach me at 318-613-0147, or either you can email me at freedomtherapycenter@gmail.com.
Good deal, good deal. And hey, I hope you definitely take note of that information because I tell you, Danielle is really, I mean, she's got a heart for all of this. I mean, it's just not, someone that's got some head knowledge about finance. I mean, she really, really has a heart for all of these different things. And whether you realize it or not, I think you actually said on one broadcast, Danielle, a portion of this is that you are all about trying to help people to break those generational curses and that mindset of, poverty. You're thinking that, okay, it's just always going to be this way.
Right.
Okay. And listen, everyone, it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, just with a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and hey, I'm just going to let you know it's going to take a lot of discipline.
Yes.
But hey, you can do it. You can do it. So, I mean, Danielle, before we went to break, you definitely were talking about, the four walls. And, like I said, God deals with me in visuals every time someone says something. So I'm thinking about the four things that you were talking about, and I'm thinking about it like in a natural, securing your house, your household, right? And then if one of those little areas are weak, then, something starts to happen with the household. I mean, and we addressed at one point in time, fear is probably the biggest factor in people dealing with budgets. I mean, is it, I don't even know, Lord help me to verbalize this. Is it that when a person, let me ask you this, let me put it this way. What is the biggest challenge that someone has to overcome in actually structuring a budget when you sit down with them?
I would say what they have to overcome is a lot of people don't even know. First of all, it is fear. Like, and it's like you have to come to terms with this is the mess that I'm in. Like, a lot of people are so afraid to look at it. I know for a long time, like, I did not want to look at my student loan debt because it was just too much and I didn't even know. So I'm operating in ignorance. And I just wanted to stay there until it was just like one day it was just like, you got to look at it, sis. We got to break it down. We got to see. But it really is fear, not wanting to do what you need to do, not wanting to take the responsibility of this is what I did to myself. And so it's just like, and then not having hope. Like, I can't work myself up out of this. I can't get ahead and stuff like that. And it's just like, so you got your fear, you got your lack of motivation, you have no hope. Like, it's all these different types of feelings that you have. And it's just like, no, you can do this. You got here, you're in this situation, but that doesn't mean that you cannot get out. You have to be responsible enough to actually look at it and then start trying to create a plan of how to get out. And then that's what I help you with. I help boost your motivation, your self-esteem about it, and help give you some positive support and like knowing that you can make it through this. Like, it's just a test that we're going to actually pass. You got to do a little studying, you got to do some sacrificing for it. And a lot of times people don't want to make that sacrifice. Right. They want to be like, oh, just blindly. Like last night I posted on Facebook, it's so easy for us to get into debt, but it feels like we're going through heck to get up out of debt.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do is sign something. People come looking to give you stuff, give you money that you cannot afford. And then it's just like when they come back to actually get their money, it's a problem for you. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get into it.
And I mean, that's really in the realm of, I really didn't take note of it as far as like, when we were in school, but as far as like our daughters, I mean, in college, one just got out, one's like halfway through, and then all of a sudden you see all of these things coming through the mail. Okay, yes. We'll go ahead and give you this line of credit. Hey, get this car. You can after school. You don't have to worry about it now, but they never tell you about the balloon payment.
Yes,
and all of those different things. And a lot of people really are paying off certain debts that they accrued while in college under the, false pretense
Right.
that, it was just going to just be taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of us really are, to where, we go and we either do like these impulsive buys, or, we go and listen to someone about, hey, man, you need to go ahead and get that. You
Right.
look good in that, whatever it is to buck your ego up. And then, like you said, all of a sudden later on, you're just like, oh, my Lord, how did I get myself in this state?
Yes.
And I see how you're talking about with the budget, how it would really help you to actually, solve some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what is that, how can I put it? So that someone has a victory. A lot of times they say, when you're coaching someone, set them up in a way that where they can have an initial victory that helps them with that motivation. What's some of the, or one of the things, or, you can share multiple things if you like. How do you actually help people to have that first victory?
I would say that first victory is actually being able to meet all your monthly bills at one point. Like,
that's good.
Being stable. Like, this month, all my bills are paid, okay? And so it's like that small victory right there. I done paid all my bills, y'all. And keeping it up. But then if you cannot pay all your bills, if you don't have enough money, because like a lot of people sometimes do not have enough money, but it's like the small victory is my 4 walls are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything else might not be taken care of, but I got enough food for the month. I got enough. My rent is paid. My utilities are on and stuff like that. So meeting your basic needs. Like, people, if we don't meet our basic needs, it impacts so many more areas of our life, our mental health as well. And especially if our children is not eating and they go to school and they start acting out. Well, it's because the child doesn't have food at home, but now you're labeled. So like that's why I talk about making sure that our basic needs are met, because it's just not you if you're a parent. It's your children too. So if you don't have, and I used to see so many, and that what gets me. I used to see so many because I used to, of course, y'all know, like by nature, I am a social worker, by career. And I used to work with at-risk children. And so like, and it's like actually theories about basic needs being met. And a lot of times it's like we would come in, and thankfully I had a job where we can buy stuff for people. And it was like buying groceries.
Wow.
And it was just like, okay, the groceries are about the kid is going to do better in school. And he or she would do a little bit better because they had food. So like, just think about it. If you're not buying food first and you're paying everything else, what's your kid going to eat?
That's true. And something, I actually had a memory that came back to me as you were saying that, is that I remember when I was younger in school, this one boy, I mean, he was just acting out, and then all of a sudden he literally got caught in the lunch line. They tell you how much you can take and stuff, but I saw he got caught taking 2 or 3 apples and trying to stuff them in his pocket.
Right.
And of course, as anyone else, we just thought, well, he just wanted to take them, okay. And then as they took him into the office and had, more of an in-depth conversation, you saw a lot of teachers getting together, and it was just like you said, he was hungry,
right?
And didn't have it at the household. So wow, I mean, definitely, a lot of times we're making decisions based upon, just looking at ourselves, but we're not looking at the ramifications that will happen throughout the entire family, especially with our children. And a lot of that is that we don't realize as adults that even in doing that, we're preparing and training our kids for failure,
yes.
As far as like in the realm of finances. So look, definitely having a structured budget is a must. And like I said, you've definitely like put us on notice. I mean, we're not frivolously spending any kind of money out there, but still to have it, right in front of you the way you can actually see. And like I said, because of the last episode, when I actually did go in the checking account and I saw Shell gas, I was just like, oh my Lord, I had no idea that we were spending that much on fuel. But definitely God's just reaching you right now. And look, how to structure your budget is not a bad thing. It's actually a godsend. So look, we'll be right back with the final portion of the show. Stay in your moment, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Cruz. And hey, we are definitely engaging and definitely laying it down and giving some really, really practical knowledge, tips, and firm foundation with Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center on how to structure your budget. And you know, something that I'm looking at a question right here, and it really just sticks out to me. And this is like a really you're going to want to listen to this. Trust me, you're really going to want to listen to this. Now, Danielle, I mean, what happens if they don't have like enough money? What does they say? I don't have enough money at the end of the money, or however that expression goes. You know, I mean, what should people do?
I would say if you don't have enough money, that's where your budget comes to be the most important thing. Like, write all your things down, and wherever the money stops, draw a line, right? And the bills that are under that, they just don't get paid. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't get blood out of a turnip, they say. So it's like so before the money runs out, that's why it's like the most important bills need to be taken care of.
Right.
So like up under that, whatever's up under that line does not get paid. Now, if you don't have enough money, it's always, you may not want to hear this. This is where the little sacrifice come in at getting extra jobs. Get a second job if you have the time to get a second job. You know, get you a second job, or either, you know, if you don't have enough time, like it's other things, ways that you can make money. But it's like, try to figure out what you can cut in your budget that's of not importance and see if that'll help you save money. But it's also, you have to generate more income to come into the house, and you have to be creative with that. And don't be like, well, Danielle, you don't understand, I don't have enough, or just be defeated. Like, be open into what I'm telling you and be positive that you can actually bring in more money. Like, if you have the mindset of that, I don't know what I can do or whatever, like, it's not going to come. But if you shift your mindset to be like, okay, like, let me see how I can make more money, or how I can bring in more money. Can I watch my grandson, or can I do this for a little bit extra more money? Can I be a secret shopper? Can I clean houses, or anything of that nature to join in and bring in more money to actually help your bills? But it's important. Go, whatever your money stops at, draw a line, and everything that is up under them, like, you just can't get paid. Just can't get paid. Plain and simple. That's why you start attacking your basic needs first. As long as your basic needs are met, hey, I can try to pay y'all when I get the money, but
yeah, that's it. And you know something, I'm happy that you actually said it, can try to pay it, because so many people fall under this whole pressure of creditors, call it.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, and I know how it was with us. We had went there, especially, you know, early on in marriage, because you know how we at one point in time in our life, we had such a credit rating, and when people ran our credit, they didn't do anything else. And you know how you go for a car and they give you multiple papers? It was one sheet, and they just slid it over that. And all we had to do was sign, get the keys, and walk out the door. No money down. And so many people have fallen into, you know, that particular trap. But I mean, as far as like in like the getting the extra jobs and the second job, whatever, and I definitely understand that, you know, because like I said, for us to get to where we needed to be at one point in time, we were like, what's the expression? Two ships passing in the night. She had two jobs. I had two jobs, and it was like going, you know, back and forth.
Yeah.
But what I would actually say, touch on the point of, and I've seen this, I've seen people do what you're saying. They get out of debt, a year passes, and then it seems like they go right back into it. How do they stop from doing that?
I keep up doing with the budget. Like, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Like, the jobs and stuff, 2 jobs, or if you have to get a second job to help out, like, that's temporary. Do not even think about, if you want to keep it temporary, or if you want to do long term, you know, it's just temporary. It's only a temporary sacrifice to get you back on track. Like, this is not long term, as long as you stick to your budget. Like, when you're doing this the hard way, like, you're going to think twice a little bit before going back into debt and stuff like that. But honestly, just if you do go find yourself slipping back, like, keep yourself accountable, get your accountability partner, and have your budget to make you accountable too. Like, that's what's going to help you from slipping back into the habits, the old habits and stuff like that. But when you have a emergency fund too. That can really help.
And I believe that's like one of the biggest things, Danielle, that most people don't do. They don't have that bracket on it. Okay, for those that have a budget, and I've seen people with budgets, but until you started bringing it out, I've never saw a category for miscellaneous.
Yeah.
I never saw a category for emergency fund. And every so often you see that category for like a vacation or whatever
Right.
like that. But most people just look, I'm going to take a vacation, and then they just start taking from everything they already have listed on that budget, and then turn around by the next month after the vacation or whatever that they do, they're wondering why this didn't get paid or why that didn't get paid. So, I mean, what are there any kind of pitfalls or any type of things that are like just really cause any kind of problems in someone's life if, they can, well, it's kind of should be obvious, but if for whatever reason they just decide, I'm just going to do it the way it's been doing it. I'm going to get the extra job like you suggested, but I really don't need to have that budget. What do you see that actually is going to happen from that?
The same thing. Like you can't, if you're not, you have to change your behavior in order to see something different. So if your behavior isn't changed, you're just going to continue. You just have more money to do more stuff. So the more money that you have, the more stuff that you'll buy instead of actually taking care of the things that you need. So like they say, more money, more problems. That's basically what it is. It's just more money, more problems. You're able to buy more stuff, and you're able to get a little bit more debt because you have a second job and you have a second income coming in.
And one thing I'm going to want to go ahead and touch on, just because there are so many people out there, that fall into this, all right? You can definitely give us some great suggestions about this, okay, in this last portion. People that have student loans. What's your advice on paying down student loans?
My advice is figure out what your student loan, the amount first. Call the people and talk to them, see how much it is, and to actually really get a breakdown and look at your statement. See about how much interest you owe, because a lot of time we have back interest, and with student loans, you have to pay the back interest off before you'll even attack the principal. So if you haven't paid your student loans off in a couple of years, you got about $5,000 in back interest, and you're sending your money, but your principal is staying the same. It's because you have to pay that back interest off before you even attack the principal.
Now, as far as like student loans is concerned, do we is there? I don't know about. I'm just asking. You can do this with everything. Is it a way that you can actually call and possibly contact them to negotiate a lower rate or earlier payoff? Have you ever had anybody ask you that? Or
if you have money, like you can, like with the student loan, they're not going to adjust the rate. Like it's like try to give you like a, if you call and say I got the money right here and you give me a cheaper rate, they're not going to do that. Like you have to pay all of what you owe.
Wow. Okay.
And the way to attack the student loan is to pay them. Like pay them. Don't be like, oh, I'm not going to pay them, or either I'm going to debt consolidate. Well, you can do a debt consolidation, or either you can do a don't get into that whole income based thing, because it's just like you're not going to even meet the monthly need.
Okay.
Like only do income based if you really just cannot afford your student loans.
Right.
But if you have the extra money, make the sacrifice and start paying them, because those are not going to go away.
Good advice.
Okay, you guys. So I wanted to make sure I do this special announcement. I am going to, for the month of September, I want you guys to come out and help me celebrate my birthday. And what I'm offering is 3 free budget classes for the month of September. The dates are September the 7th at 2 p.m. I'll be at Mount Olive, September the 14th, and September the 21st. So y'all please contact me if y'all would like to come. And the phone number is 318-613-0147.
And definitely make sure that you stay in tune to us, because right after us is On Point Talk with Carlette Christmas. And so definitely in the house with us today has been Ms. Danielle Bailey of Freedom Therapy Center. And talking about how to structure your budget. And on this Thriving Thursday, she just gave you the tips, and God used her to bring the insights on how to thrive in your life from this point forward. So definitely God loves you most. We love you. Take care. God bless. But definitely stay in your moment.